I love that music has this ability of bringing people together. And when you really connect with someone, it feels like it's really deep. It's like, because music connects people in like emotional and mental ways. And it's like,
no, totally true. I mean, I think the writing especially the writing process, because, you know, when you write with people, you do have to kind of dig down into quite a sort of intimate level quite quickly. And I think that, you know, you can sometimes spend a day just, you know, sometimes you write with people, you never see them again, but, you know, so you'll spend a day with somebody, or even 3 or 4 hours. And in those 3 or 4 hours, I think often you'll end up kind of having a more profound understanding and sort of empathy with that person than you would do in normal life after many years. It's quite a weird thing, because you have to be, everybody in the room, ideally, has to be very open and very non-judgmental and very, very, you know, giving. Everybody has to give into the pot, and that's you know, that's a good process. But, you know, I mean, so I go skiing with a bunch of guys who have like normal jobs. I mean, they're all like high powered people, but, you know, they're fascinated. They say, so you go in a room like at, you know, mid-morning with somebody you never met before, and you just sit down and you write a song, and then you come out at the end and you've got like this whole, I'm like, yeah, they go, whoa, that's weird.
I mean, I guess writing a song is strangely intimate, isn't it? It's like, yeah.
Oh yeah, totally. Incredibly intimate, yeah. No, it is. I mean, I think it's a bit like, I mean, I've used this analogy before, and actually, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't use this analogy on the podcast.
No, go for it.
But, you know, I think I have never, I mean, allegedly, there is, you know, pornography exists in the world, and I have never participated in pornography, but I have been told that what it is you have this safe space, and people go into safe space, and they know that something really something's going to happen, which would never really happen in normal life. But because everybody is bought into the process, everybody understands when they go into the process that that's what's going to happen.
Yeah,
it becomes very normal.
Right. And
I think it's a bit like that when you write a song. If somebody came into a songwriting session who'd never done songwriting, I think some of the time they'd be like, what the fuck? This is so weird. Because, you know, very quickly you're talking about parental breakup and insecurities and, you know, what you felt like when your girlfriend dumped you or your boyfriend dumped you, or, you know, the problems you had with your mum, or, you know, like all those kind of things.
Right.
If you can't get to that level of intimacy quite quickly with people, you're not going to write a good song. But in everyday life, people be like, what are you going there for, sort of thing. But if you don't go there, then you don't get anything.
I mean, it's quite interesting because I've never thought about it that way.
You feel free to wipe that analogy, by the way. That might have been a really bad analogy. I don't want to get cancelled.
Which is quite...
I just like to say that was not through any form of personal experience.
No, I think it's quite a great analogy, actually, because, you know, I read a lot of fantasy books, and I was reading this one book called The King Killer Chronicles, and the main character meets this tribe of people who have no problem with nudity, like absolutely no problem. But when it comes to music, like singing, it's like unbelievably intimate. It's like
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. It's really interesting. I was
yes.
Yeah, so it makes sense.
It's like what we decide are the things that are sort of taboo. Well, not as taboo. Yeah, I suppose taboo. It's like it's not necessarily a universal law.
No, it's not.
It's a thing which society dictates.
Yep. Like for example, living here in Finland, coming from South Africa, you know, we quite open people. We really chill, and Finnish people get really, they can get really uncomfortable if you try and speak to them in public for no apparent reason. But they'll take you to a sauna, and you just met you just met the bloke and he's taking his clothes off and he's just like, yeah, cool, let's.
Yes.
And you're like, yeah.
And then thrashing you with birch sticks and then throwing you in the snow.
Exactly that.
No, that's true. That's true.
Mm.
Yes, that's true. No, well, it just shows, isn't it? Whatever, because that's just accepted and seen as totally normal, then it's totally normal.
Yeah, I think my only experience of trying to write a song with other people was I was in a group. I went to this one studio and they wanted to write a quote unquote hit song, and I remember the whole the whole process was just it didn't feel like the way you describing it. You talking about kind of opening things up and having a conversation and being real. This felt so fake in a way. So I don't know. I didn't like that process, and yeah.
I get very nervous if you go into a session and they say, "Let's write a hit" or "Let's write a banger." That always makes me nervous because I think you write the best song you can write, and sometimes it's a hit, and sometimes it's there was a session a few years ago. I mean, I did a few things with this guy called James Arthur, who was at the time had sort of been semi-cancelled, but actually then came back and had a massive hit record with some of the songs I wrote with him. But we'd had a strict instruction from the record company, which was do not write any ballads before we went into the session. Anyway, we started talking about this thing. We started talking about whatever, and started writing this song. And it was a great song. I knew it was a great song, but I came out so depressed. I thought, there we are. This is my sort of chance. This is like, he's a great singer. He's got shit going on, and we've gone in there and we've done exactly the opposite of what the record company wanted us to do. And so basically, we've got no chance. This is never going to see the light of day. And it was interesting because he was talking about, it was called Safe Inside. He was talking about worrying about whether somebody in your care is going to come home. You're lying awake at night worrying about whether they're going to come home safe. And I said to him, I said, look, as a parent, I know exactly what that feels like. But he was like 25 at the time. I can't remember. I said, how did you feel this so deeply? And he said, because mum, there was a lot of problems with my mum, and when I came out of care, my sister couldn't live at home anymore. So he was like a 16-year-old kid, and he was responsible for his, I can't remember the details, I could be wrong, sorry James, I am, but maybe like 12-year-old sister or 13-year-old sister, something like that, who couldn't live at home anymore. And so he took on this role for a few years of kind of parent guardian. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. I mean, especially to give that responsibility to somebody who'd already come from, probably a quite challenging background, and then suddenly to become like, surrogate father to a teenage girl. You're like, wow, okay.
Right.
But there we go. I mean, that's a good example. This song it's an amazing song because it came from a place of truth.
Right. So what did the record company say? Did they like it? Did they?
Well, in the end, I think it was the second single, and it did amazingly well. It was a big. I would say it's not as big a hit as his first single, but it was still a big hit. So, because it was just such a powerful. It was just such a powerful lyric.